Hello and welcome to Up the Villa podcast. If you are new to our channel, subscribe. Make sure you're dropping this episode a like and commenting your thoughts in the comment section down below. So, FA Cup action. As you know, a football fan that just loves football, that loves the English game, I love the FA Cup. I absolutely love it. I go back to memories of, being at my nan's, watching it on telly and watching the finals. And the build-up started at like 9 o'clock, didn't it, for the final? And it'd just be on all day, and it was just absolutely brilliant. So I love the FA Cup. I just thought we take it serious. We'll get onto that in a bit. As serious as we can take it. But Justin, how are you?
All right, mate. A bit cold, but hopefully this weather packs up soon. But yes, good. Looking forward to the FA Cup.
Yeah, it's one of them that sort of you just look forward to it. I mean, you even look forward to like the tie of who you get. There's a real buzz of who you're gonna get in the first proper round. This is like I'd say the proper round where teams have qualified and they can potentially get a Premier League team that have come through the qualifications from like the National League, etc. So, it feels special to me, the FA Cup still. And I think what I don't want to happen is what I think, can happen and what some fans from overseas look at it and just think, it's not the Champions League, it's just the FA Cup. It's got no meaning. But I think to proper, hardcore football fans, the FA Cup still means something. Would you agree?
To me, it's always been my holy grail out of everything. As daft as it sounds, League, Champions League, even. For some reason, since I was a little kid, I went to a football fair years and years ago when I was probably about 10 at the NEC, and there was a chance to hold the FA Cup, and I did it. And it just, from that moment, I thought, this is special, this is. And like you, as a kid, I go back to the days when it was like one of the only games on the telly every year. So they did make a huge effort of it, like you say, from the morning all the way through afternoon. Then they'd be on the coaches, following the coaches to the game, and the build-up was an all-day thing. And I just wanted to win the FA Cup. That's the one thing I wanted to win. And we've had a couple of finals in my time, semi-finals and bits and bobs, but never really looked like we was going to win it. I just want to win the FA Cup. It's such a huge competition. And yes, it's been devalued over the last 10 years, I would say, with the advent of like finishing fourth in the league and the money that's in the game and you can get from finishing in Champions League places and everything. And the FA Cup has become a lesser important competition. But I don't care what anybody says. Once you get to the quarterfinals onwards, then every team that's left in it wants to win it. The problem has been in the early rounds when teams that have been in Europe or have got things on their mind, especially Premier League sides, relegation threatened or things like that. They do take their eye off the ball, and we've seen plenty of times weakened sides aplenty in the early rounds. But for me, if we can take it seriously, then and a few teams do that, and one or two of the big boys have been drawn against each other as well. I still think there's a huge opportunity for us this season to go very deep and even close to winning it.
Me too. And I had a Christmas present, and it's a great present, right? And it's really got me like falling back in love with the FA Cup, really, because I've been reading about it and stuff. This book is absolutely incredible. If anybody hasn't got this book, then get this book because there's so much good stuff in it. There's stats from like different seasons. You've got pieces on individual players. Past, present, good players. Gerrard's even in this book as well. But what I really like about it is learning stuff about the history of Aston Villa. So it goes back to like the 1930s, and you can read up on each season. And I've been reading up on like the 7 FA Cups that we've won. So I had my head in this book, and I just keep, it's not the easiest of reads because it's just short and there's just different areas of our history, but I just keep like dipping in and out of it and thinking, whoa, like just learning so much. And I think, for a club that's won the FA Cup 7 times, and the last time we won it was absolutely ages ago, it's a big void. And I just love us to win a trophy. I really, really would. And I spoke about it when I went to Villa Park the other day of my aim and what I want, etc. So, I'm kind of in a bit of a two-way thing here because I'm saying all this, but then I'm thinking, what's the lineup going to look like? So, what's your vibe on the lineup then, Justin? Before we get into like Middlesbrough.
I think, given the way the fixtures pan out in January, we've obviously just come out of a real hectic period. So there's like a 2-week break now of Premier League games, and we've only got 3 games in this month, haven't we? The FA Cup game and a couple of league games. So, with that in mind, and with a few players coming back sort of from injury, I think we can afford to go pretty strong in this game. I really do. I think it's very important to keep momentum of team selection going. I don't see wholesale changes. I see maybe 1 or 2. The general makeup of our squad means we've probably got about 15 players that have played most of the games, even the sort of European games when he's changed it around a bit. We've only seen 4 or 5 maximum changes, and on a match day with 5 substitutions, most of the players that have played regularly play most games anyway, even if they're just coming off the bench and having a few minutes. So, with all that in mind, with the fixture list not looking too overly crammed in this month, no Europe yet, then I think we can go very strong and get through to the next round and see who we draw in the next round. It's a tough game, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Before we get into Middlesbrough, I will get into Middlesbrough. I'm going to set you a challenge, Villa fans. And something that irked the Villa fan base on Twitter the last couple of days was Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher's team of the season so far. Carragher did his team of the season. He had no Villa player in this team, but he had Unai Emery as the manager, right? Make it make sense. So Emery's the manager of his team, but there's no Villa player in this team. We've got Cole Palmer in his team, who is a player that's languishing in mid-table. Bit bizarre. So I've not thought about my team that much, but I've wrote down a team of 11 players. Justin, you can do your team while I tell you my team, but I want people in the comment section to put their team of the season so far. And I don't think I've been that biased with my team. Let me know what you think of my team. So I've bear in mind that you've got to have players that are obviously kind of near the top because we're only halfway through and they've got to have performed pretty well. So I've gone with, and this is based on performances that I've seen from certain players. So I've gone with Vicario in goal because I think he's made some wonderful saves for Spurs. I've got a back 4 of Trent, Van Dijk, Saliba, and Udogie. And I think that's a pretty solid back 4. I've got a double pivot of Declan Rice and Douglas Luiz, which I think is pretty fair again. And then my front 3 in front of that, I've gone with Bailey, Foden, and Salah. And I've got Ollie Watkins up top. And that is my team. And my team, the Villa players that I put in there, I can back that up with numbers. We've got Bailey's goals and assists. We've got Watkins' goals and assists. We've got Douglas Luiz's performances. So that's my team. Let me know what you think of my team. Justin, what do you think of my team? That's all right, isn't
Very
it?
good. Yeah, really good. I
Yeah,
liked it. Yeah. Yeah, I
quite
mean, I
fair.
saw that. Very fair, like you say. For once, we can put Villa players in and have a real fair crack at the wick and say that they deserve to be in. 100% they deserve to be in. The fact that there's not one Villa player in either of their teams is quite frankly embarrassing for so-called real knowledgeable pundits of the game. We are sitting joint top of the Premier League, and
Oh, we're
there's
not now.
almost a
We're second, aren't we?
yeah, well, yeah, one or 2 points off the top. So for not to be recognised even one player, and like you say, the stats that some of our players are putting down. I mean, Douglas Luiz, I said it, I think after the West Ham when we hammered them at home. If there's a better number 6 in the Premier League at the moment, I'm yet to see him. The only player that's anywhere near him for me this season has been Rodri, and he's missed quite a lot of games. So for me, it would be Rodri and Luiz in the sixes. Bailey has to be in there, I think, based on his numbers alone. And had probably Haaland been fit all season, then I probably would have him up top. But I think based again on not just goals, but goals and assists, I think Ollie Watkins has got to be up there as well, hasn't he? It's very, very embarrassing. And again,
Well,
another
there
one
he
for me,
is.
I think. Yeah,
Fourth, 17.
yeah. Another one for me, it would be. I mean, you'd put Salah in probably on the left hand side. I'd probably put Watkins up top, and I'd go Bailey off the right. Um, I think Pau Torres is going to be a question for centre halves as well. Um,
Yeah.
there's some of these players seem to get in just because of their name and not particularly how they're playing this season. It's how you can put Trent Alexander-Arnold in at right back when the bloke hasn't played there hardly any this season. Then why are you playing him at right back? How can he be the best right back in the league when he's not played there all season? So yeah, very odd, but nothing that I've not come to expect from those types of pundits this season, I'm afraid.
I just find it just very strange because if Villa was sitting mid-table and Bailey'd got the goals and assists Cole Palmer had got, Bailey would not be in that team, would he?
No, I don't get
So
right. I don't Rice's inclusion. I'm bizarre with that one as well because I think his form has dropped off terribly over the last few weeks, really badly. And I don't think he adds goals, a lot of goals and assists. I don't think he's anywhere near what Douglas Luiz has been at this season. So I don't know, very strange.
very
But we'll
strange.
just
So
keep on doing what we do.
yeah, definitely. In the comments, put your teams in. What would you go with? So we turn our attention then to Middlesbrough. Michael Carrick is their manager. Last season did really well, got them into the playoffs. This season started pretty poorly. Was under massive amounts of pressure, but he's turned it around somewhat. We know the nature of the championship. Couple of wins, you're back up there. Couple of defeats, you're sort of mid-table. They are currently sitting in the championship in 12th place. They are 4 points from the playoffs. So, they're going to be pretty up for this game, albeit that they do play Chelsea in the Carabao Cup semi-final on Tuesday, two-legged tie. So I would imagine that they will make some changes for this game as well. They have played 26 matches. They've scored 38, conceded 39. They're averaging 1.5 goals per game. They are averaging possession-wise 52.8% possession, 84% passing accuracy per game, which is decent. They've kept 6 clean sheets. They're conceding 1.5 per game. They have a duels won per game of 48%. So, we don't need to tell anybody how, difficult playing some of these teams are that are in the championship, having come from the championship. And, I think it's going to be, depending on the level of changes from their side to our side. I think that is always sort of like a caveat to the tie. I think it's going to be a competitive game. I expect Villa to have majority of the possession. I expect us to control the game, and I expect us to go through. I think no matter how many changes we make, we should be looking at this game thinking that we can go through and we can go into that next round. So, Justin, have you watched much of Middlesbrough? I know it's quite difficult to sort of keep an eye on the championship. When I watch championship, I generally look out for like Ipswich, Leeds, Leicester. For some reason, I find myself watching Sunderland quite a lot. But yeah, I've not really watched much of Middlesbrough, so I can't really comment on them.
Yeah, to be honest, no, I haven't. I don't think I've seen them play this season, so it's difficult to gauge a sort of real feel for how they play and the type of football they like to play. But based on their form and where they are in the league this season, they had a phenomenal season last year. This season they are struggling a bit. I mean, their home form sees them in 16th out of all of the teams in the league, so that's not great. So their home form isn't brilliant. They struggle to score goals a bit as well, so hopefully that'll happen. And I think the biggest factor in this game is they're going to want to push into the playoffs, so they're not comfortable in the league, so they want to kick it on in there, and they have got a pretty good opportunity, I would say, against Chelsea in the League Cup,
Mhm.
because Chelsea are by no means the Chelsea of a few years ago, and they are beatable. I think we've beat them, and I think a lot of teams beat them. So over two legs. They play again on the Tuesday after we play on the Saturday. So I do think they will prioritise that game
Mhm.
against ours. I think that will happen. So I do see them almost forfeiting to a point this game. I think they'll go pretty weak, playing a lot of the fringe players, especially the key areas. So that hopefully will tie into my hope that we go fairly strong. So I'm hoping the curse of the third round that we've had for the last how many years will finally be blown away.
Yeah. I mean, I've just had a thought in my head. I've just seen that Stevenage second goal going. I've just
I
seen
know,
Olsen get beat at the near post.
yeah. I mean, I
It's
think
just flashed in my mind.
it's been commented on quite a lot that I think that was Unai Emery's biggest regret of last season was that third round tie against Stevenage at home. The way we played, the way we set up, the team he picked. I think he'll look back at that and think that was a major not a mistake because he did it all for all the right reasons. But had we have just gone marginally stronger and we'd have been marginally better that day, we'd have won the game. But that just shows what this FA Cup is all about. A lower league
Mm,
side giving it everything and having just it being their day. Everything went against us and we didn't close the game out, and they took their chances and scored a couple of really good goals and they beat us late on, didn't they? So this isn't a give me by any chance, and who knows what could happen. But in the form we're in and the players we've got, I would hope, even if we did decide to sort of throw a few of the fringe players in, we should still have enough to see off Middlesbrough, I think.
definitely. I'm feeling the win.
Famous last words.
I'm feeling the FA Cup this year. I'm feeling it. Clip it, clip it, and see what happens. Right. So, score prediction then, Justin. What are you going with?
Well, I did actually back us at the pre-season to win the FA Cup, didn't I? So
Oh God.
I've got to stick with that. I think we're going to win the game 3-1. That's what I'd go for. Comfortable 3-1 win. I think the class
Yeah.
will show on the day. It's a decent pitch. It's a nice ground to play at. It's not like going to a League Two side where everything's close to the ground. Will they sell out? I don't know. It's a big old stadium, isn't it? So, we'll take a lot of fans up there as well, which is a huge factor. It's good to take a lot of fans away, isn't it? And a lot will be travelling up. So, yeah, 3-1 win Villa.
Yeah, I'll stick with the threes. I'll go 3-0. So thank you everybody who has watched this episode. We do have an opposition preview coming up this week as well. So stay tuned for that one. We'll get a real look and feel about Middlesbrough, how they're playing, their formation, their system, etc. Who to watch out for. So stay tuned for that. We'll have predicted lineup and we might have the press conference reaction. We'll see how we're going on Friday for that as well. But hopefully we'll have had a transfer hub. I'm waiting. I'm waiting for that first one to drop. So yeah, you might have had it by the time this has come out, or you might not. So thanks everyone for the support. Up the Villa.
Look the Villa.